Preston,
Yes, sir.
why do you think there's so many Christian men in the world today that on the outside appear to have it all, success, status, relationships, family, yet on the inside they're struggling with this emptiness?
Do you think there's that many?
I do. Do you not?
I'd like to see more.
You'd like to see more.
I'd like to see
Okay.
more Christians, more kings out in the marketplace, you know? Why do I think this is happening?
Well, let me come back at you there then, if we can, because are you saying you want to see more Christian men
Succeeding.
empty inside, or more Christian
No,
men
succeeding.
succeeding?
Yes.
Okay. So you think that there's a void of successful Christian men in the market today?
I think that there's a void of legit kings.
Okay.
You know,
What's a king?
that it may just be another term for like a real Christian, like someone who's not just playing the game.
Okay.
They're not just doing the go to church, do checking the boxes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're like real. They're those rare men that you meet that are like, that is a Jesus dude right there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Powerful.
Why are so many Christian men playing the game? Because I think if you were to walk into most churches these days and ask men how they're doing,
That's
they're
a
going
good
to tell you
question.
they're going okay. I think if you were to survey a lot of them, the truth wouldn't come out. So there's this mask that these men are wearing.
Yeah.
Why?
Part of the problem could be the American church system. To me, it's all a little bit of a game in and of itself.
Yeah.
You know, you show up on Sunday, hi, how you doing? It's just kind of part of the overall. It's not central.
Mhm.
The church isn't central to most people's lives.
Okay.
Jesus is just like one of the things that they do. And so I think what happens is that's not how the game works. That's not how the kingdom works. So it takes a crisis to move Christ from the peripheral into the center, right?
Mm-hmm. Takes a crisis to move Christ from the peripheral.
Wow,
into the
that's
center.
a little bit of that's a good one.
Yeah.
Crisis creates community. It creates Christ, period, if you think about it.
And is that message not being shared universally throughout the church?
Man, honestly, I just don't know, because I'm personally, you and I kind of talked about this a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm just not a fan of organized religion.
Okay.
It's just not me. It's I'm not saying it's bad.
Yeah.
It just doesn't do it for me. I haven't found what I'm looking for in the American church.
Yeah. I don't think this conversation where I wanted to go is in pedestalizing organized religion. I think it serves a place in some people's lives. As
Sure.
I told you the other day, it serves a role in my life as well. What I want to get to is I want to speak to the heart of the man that is out there, that is showing up on Sunday and is wearing the facade. He's putting, the nice pants on, checkered shirt, buttoned up, tucked in, and is telling everybody that his life is going amazing. And then he goes home and yells at his wife, doesn't lead his kids, and then drowns himself in vices and pleasures. And I want to speak to that guy. So we don't have to, like I said, highlight and pedestalize the church, because I don't think that's what
He probably
are doing.
does. That guy probably does not have a legit father in his life.
Okay.
In terms of, the Apostle Paul said, you have many children, you don't have many fathers.
Yeah.
So he probably does not have a strong father figure mentor. And he almost certainly does not have real community.
Yeah.
Where he just can't get away with the stuff that he's getting away with. It's impossible.
Okay. So fatherlessness.
That's part of it.
Yeah.
Right.
So fatherlessness is at the root of it. And when you say a legit father, are you speaking
Like a spiritual father.
a spiritual?
Like I've had the same spiritual father for 25 years that I've met with at least once a week.
Okay.
And just brought all my questions to him about absolutely everything about life. And he's just spoken into me and it's just been a huge part of my journey. I don't know how you can really do it without that, honestly.
Yeah. And we'll get to kind of where you were in your journey, and what kind of brought all this into light for you. But I want to circle back to Cease statement, because I think one thing that I've been on for the last 5.5, 6 years is trying to catch the guy before the crisis.
Yeah.
I've been thinking, is it possible?
I would like to think it is, but I've been thinking about this a lot lately. I don't know, man. You know, the crisis moves us from developmental stage to developmental stage. There's two main ones that we have to deal with, and then there's just lots of little ones. And it's all a process of the guy who's checking all the things off the list and quietly at home is in despair and is, you know, the man you mentioned, the successful Christian.
The guy that's succeeding on the outside, maybe not even uber successful, right? But he followed the world's plan, you know.
He probably means well, right?
Yeah.
But he's also unknowingly wearing 10 different masks, believing 1,000 different lies, thinking he's something when he's nothing, right? If anyone thinks he's something when he's nothing, that man deceives himself.
Yeah.
Right? And so I'm not sure. I think we can limit like the collateral damage, but you know, Christ died on the cross and calls us to a life of a lot of suffering for a reason. You know, there's no real growth without the cross, right? When Christ died on the cross, that mask that we're all wearing, that is specifically what he took with him.
Yeah.
That is sin. For this we know, when Christ died, our old self died with him. That old self is the problem. That is the issue. You're asking me, what is the problem? What's keeping these guys? It's specifically that. All the lies they're believing, this sin nature, right? And there's nothing technically that can be done about that except for an application of the cross. And that typically involves some type of spectacular, you know, failure or divine intervention.
Yeah.
It just usually involves a lot of pain. I think we can minimize the damage.
Yeah.
I think community and coaches minimizes the fallout.
No, I agree. 100%. And
it's the closest thing to an insurance policy as an entrepreneur, a high level, high performing Christian who is also high risk. Right? Coaching and community and accountability is the closest thing to like an insurance policy on yourself.
Yeah.
And I think all high achievers should keep that, should think that way. I think if we all kind of kept in mind, you know what, that guy over there that just lost everything, that guy over there that just had an affair, and that guy over there that and his whole life fell apart, that guy that just got exposed for his, you know, addiction and his, you know, fallout with his partners because he wasn't doing business. That could be me.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a level of humility. But I always kind of circle back. When I have these conversations, I'm always just like, I run up against the same thing in all of them. And that is the concept of grace. Because it's like, we can say all this stuff. It's like, okay, you have to have an element of humility and you have to have that. But God's in control of this whole story, right? He's in control of my journey, your journey. He's scripting the whole thing out, right? The days of our life were written in the pages of God's book before there was one single one of them, right?
Yeah.
So how is that guy going to become humble and self-aware enough to say, okay, let me just see this. Yes, that could be me too. Just not many guys are going to do that, man. Most guys who are up here, like I used to be, like you used to be, I don't know your full story, but I mean, I was making $2 million a year, 5 different businesses, while giving 25% of my money away, building 40,000 churches in Cuba and community, leading worship at a church. And I still lost absolutely everything, made all the worst mistakes, right? I don't think I ever stopped to think that it was even a remote possibility that I could ever do any of the things I did. Not once. If somebody would have told me that, I would have said, "Well, you haven't done the work. You don't know the work that I put in 25 years of reading the Bible, memorizing the Bible, entire books, the entire Sermon on the Mount, the entire book of Philippians. Big deal, man. Helping people, giving money away, doing all the right things. God is holding us up in his hand, and he's carrying us along through life, right? And whether we stand or fall, it's not up to us. It's up to him. Don't judge the servant of another. What's that verse? It's like 1 Corinthians. God is able to make him stand. Make him stand. God makes us stand. But every once in a while, and this is something, if you can show me one single person on the planet under the age of 70 that has said what I'm about to say, I want to see it. God is in control of whether this is going to be controversial, whether we sin or don't sin. And there are times, and I would put myself as Exhibit A of one of those times, where God is carrying us along by his grace. We're doing all these deeds that he prepared beforehand for us to walk in, right? We're working out what he's worked into us. He's working in us to will and to do according to his good pleasure, right? But what's the worst sin of absolutely anything? What's the worst thing anyone could possibly do? The most dangerous sin.
Yeah, you're going to stun me on this one.
It's the one that blinds all these Christians we're talking about. It's the one that blinds them to themselves. It's the sin that would keep them from ever thinking it would be possible that they could end up like that guy or that guy. It's pride, bro.
Pride.
And so the well-meaning Christian who is doing good and is succeeding and needs to be self-aware enough to know that up here does not last forever. It doesn't. This is my personal observation, but also asking a lot of super smart and old and wise mentors and pastors, and very rare cases people stay up here. High achievers, you're looking at like three major, statistically speaking, you're looking at 3 bankruptcies total for multimillionaires. So just from a financial perspective, if you think you're up here and you're going to stay up here, dude, you're delusional.
Yeah.
Like, prepare, be smart, put in all the backstops that you can think of, the same way you do for your investing, the same way you do for your businesses, right? Do that same thing for your spiritual life. Put in some backstops. Like, okay, if I was starting to go down the wrong road, what could I do to like make sure? But see, that's the thing. Nobody's self-aware enough to think like that. And it's pride. Pride is the problem. And so what happens is God's carrying us along. And every once in a while, he is going to release that hand of grace. And he's going to show you who you really are.
Is that the removal of the mask then? And was for you at the top of the mountain, you said running multiple businesses, creating insane financial success for myself, giving 25% of it away. So obviously it's coming from a service-oriented place. You're having massive impact in the world. I think you said you've opened and started 40 1,000 ministries in
Churches.
Cuba, churches. So for you, was it the removal of pride that was this massive awakening? And for the guy out there that is hearing this, what are the steps to begin to remove that mask in his life?
Right. You can't remove that mask. God is removing that mask. That is the cross. The cross removes the mask, right? And the cross gets applied to Christians' lives whenever God says that it's time for this to happen, right? I'm speaking at like a fundamental level.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I want to get to the guy out there that hears that though, because that real talk, right? And I'm going to not push back, but also understand I'm like a infant in my Christian walk and journey.
Yes.
There could be an element to that seems almost hopeless, right? Like, is it just on?
It's not hopeless though. It's actually, if you can get a solid understanding of how this whole thing works, it's actually extraordinarily hopeful.
Okay.
Because a foundation that you probably need to build is in you and like 90% of all Christians, from my experience, is God's sovereignty. God is in control of absolutely everything. Absolutely everything. The heart of the hand, the heart of the king is in the hand of the Lord. He turns it whichever way he wishes.
Yeah.
The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. He does whatever he wants with it, right? Read Romans chapter 9. Scariest chapter in the entire Bible. God is writing this story. And so what that does is that creates, if we're really true seekers, that actually creates humility, right? Because it's like, I'm not as powerful as I would like to think. So yeah, I didn't remove my pride. I couldn't have removed my pride if I tried. I actually happened to be, I'm a hardcore truth seeker, man. I've read 1,000, 2,000, however many books.
Mm-hmm.
I've had tons of mentors, the same mentors for 20 years. And so I have this measure of self-awareness, right? And the most useful one that I've ever had is knowing just how good I'm not, right? Like all those good things I ever did, helping money. I've never turned anybody away that needed help. I actually had joy. I wish more people would do it. Most people don't.
Yeah.
Right. I was painfully aware my whole life. I have been that my motives weren't pure, that I wasn't doing what I was doing anywhere close to 100% for other people. I was doing it because I wanted a better life. I was doing it because I knew I should do it. I knew I was supposed to do it. I knew it was the right thing, right? But I was painfully aware.
Mm-hmm.
I still am. It's just a matter of degree. Nobody's 100%, right? Mother Teresa, one of her best quotes is, there has never in the history of the world been one good deed done with 100% pure intention, right? And so my prayer has always been, God, please purify my intention. Help me to do this stuff for the right reasons. You're telling me you want me to help the world do all these things out of love for them, out of love for you. I'm going to be honest. That's not why I'm doing it, but I want to. Please change my heart.
Yeah.
For me, I'm not saying this is how it has to happen for everybody, but it's some version of it. Now, it doesn't have to happen for everybody, but high achieving Christian men, especially if you did not have a strong, father figure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, which almost nobody did, man. You know, I'm talking like just that rock, right? That like 1 in a million, how else are you going to learn? How else are you going to get humble? By reading verses on humility, by saying, you know what, today I'm going to be humble. Today I'm going to purify my heart. Today I'm going to, no, God does that. And he does it by.
Well, I've had a mentor tell me that your relationship with your earthly father will dictate the perception that you have of your spiritual father.
Sure.
And you and I definitely come from a generation of not absent in the home fathers. That's more of what the younger men are suffering with today. But this is post-World War II, masculine, man up, go out there, hard work, provide. So maybe he was present, but not presence in the moment, right? So it shaped, I think, a lot of the men that are going to hear this perception. Because yeah, dad was there, but dad wasn't really there. I saw him, but I didn't feel him. So if a guy is hearing this right now and maybe he had a father raising him, right? You know, maybe his father, man up, didn't teach him how to understand his emotions, didn't teach him how to really connect with his feelings. He told him to push it all away. This leads to guilt, shame. I don't understand the way that I feel. Then I run into these addictions and all these things because they provide comfort for me. So if I lacked a true connection with my earthly father, which then disconnect me from my spiritual father, I know you said it's in God's hands. We can't do anything, but I want to give somebody out there a step that they can take. So what's that journey then into creating the right type of relationship that we need with the father?
Yeah. Well, so that guy was me.
Okay.
But like a real long time ago.
Yeah. What did you do?
All the drugs.
Okay.
Drinking. Just partying, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've lost everything several times. One of the things my spiritual mentor has told me is he's been pastoring for 50 plus years. He's never met one. Honestly, this does make me feel better about life for myself. But if it is either true or it's not, from my experience, has been true. He's never seen one single person, like super successful man, who hasn't lost it all like several times. Yeah. Ever. Like never, ever in his life. President Trump filed bankruptcy 4 times, went through 4 wives, right? I don't know, man. I definitely don't want to present a hopeless type of scenario, but I do think that if the guy you're describing who has to go out there, the self-made man, there's no such thing, man. There's self-made characters.
Okay.
And those characters get saved. They don't get self-made, they get saved. Yeah. There's salvation that's in need there, right?
Well, what's your so you have the Comeback Kings. That's your group, your community, your organization where you help this particular man, I assume, the guy that was you, that grew up absent father, fell into all these things, had the material success, had this massive wake up and went through this resurrection, this identity recreation. So what's the first step if somebody comes into the Comeback Kings?
Yeah. So I'm mainly working with guys. So I've cycled through the process. There's 2 main comebacks that we have to deal with in life. One brings us to Christ and one brings us to ourself in Christ.
Okay.
Right? And there's secular terms for all these things. The world works, it kind of works in the same kind of way. Except
a comeback to Christ and then a comeback to yourself in Christ.
Yes.
Okay.
They're both equally uncomfortable.
Yeah.
To say the very least, because it's an issue of identity. It's like when I first got saved, 21 years old or however long, the whole world, just like, I feel like I had been planted in a new universe, a new dimension. Like everything changed. Things look different.
Yeah.
Things like everything changed. It's real.
Yeah.
Accept Christ in your life, in your heart, by simply believing that he is who he said he was, the Son of God, and your whole world will be rocked. Right? But then you go on this journey of growth, real growth. It's real, right? That Christian out there who's been saved and is successful, he's probably really growing.
Yeah.
Right? But what's growing right alongside that? Jesus tells us the parable of the wheat and the tares, right? So there's different levels to all these parables. Like they mean this, but there's these sub meanings, right?
Yeah.
One of the meanings that I think of that parable, and so that parable is, the landowner went and planted wheat in his field. And then overnight, someone came and sowed tares, which is weeds of some sort, right? And the next day, they found out and they said, what should we do? And the landowner said, an enemy has done this. Okay, well, should we go tear it all up? No, let it all grow up together. And lest if we were to take it out now, we would rip the weed out, the good stuff out. Let it grow up together. And then when it's time, then we'll rip it all apart.
Yeah.
Okay. That Christian that is experiencing success because he's put in the work, because he's probably read the books. He's done all the exercise, eat right, put yourself around good people. Self-development 101, right? He's put in the work. He's planted the wheat.
Okay.
At the exact same time, his imposter, his false self, it's growing right alongside with it. His shadow self, that mask, the tares, the weeds. And so what does Jesus do? What was the analogy that he gave of him? He's Jesus is the vine, right? The Father's the vine dresser. We're the branches. So what does he do when he wants that vine, when he wants us to grow?
Yeah.
He prunes us so that it will grow even more. And so what does that look like? It means that ego, that pride, that just, it cannot help but come along for the ride. That's the crisis right there. Yeah. And now you have to discover who this guy is right here without that guy. And what I'm saying is you take away community, accountability, coaches, and just this dude is just on his own.
Yeah.
Forget it.
Yeah. I want to zoom in, if we can, on this identity conversation. You asked me before we started recording, we're here on the Superhuman Life podcast. I'm wearing the Rebuilt Recovery hat. What's the separation of these brands? Yeah. I said the Rebuilt Recovery is in the process of this rebranding. So I started the podcast sharing my story. They're both
awesome, by the way.
Coming to Christ, my story of my own kind of journey of transformation that I went through. 209 pounds in that picture. For 10 years prior to that, I walked around about 260 pounds. I had to let all of that go. I began to worship and idolize my body. It became a shield, a mask, a protector. I was a hurt kid. I had a lot of trauma, shame that I carried around. And I always believed that if I was just the strongest person I walked into any room, nobody would ever know that. Giving my life to Christ, I realized I had to let all of that go. So that was me. That was my journey. We now have an organization that walks guys through what I believe is their own identity transformation. I said I'm dropping the word recovery because recovery is like fixing the same thing and making it what it used to be. I got a wound here on my arm. I got stitches in it. When the stitches get removed, it's going to be the same arm that I used to have. It recovered. Transformation is letting that arm go and literally building a new one. And that's where our work has gone over these last couple of years. And I think for me, what I try to do is help a guy zero in on where he is. So there's a point in your life right now, if you're in this crisis moment, if you're struggling with addiction, there's a part of you that is holding on to that, whether it's for comfort, pleasure, whatever the case may be. You got to literally, the language that I use, die to yourself. The Phoenix, right? Death and resurrection of a new man. So we have a process that we take our men through. The audience will know a lot of that. But for the guy out there that maybe has found Christ, but is lacking himself in Christ, you mentioned community, you mentioned mentorship, coaching, accountability. What does that look like maybe from a practical application, or speaking from the Comeback Kings perspective and kind of philosophies? Like, what are they getting from you or from the community that you provide to help them through that identity transformation?
Yeah. So first of all, I think fundamentally the issue that everyone needs to try to resolve is purpose.
Okay.
Right. The successful man who is, he's had his mountaintop experience, right? We kind of talked about that. Realized there's nothing there. But he's had a sneaking suspicion that was the case the entire way. Why are you alive? Why are you alive? What's your purpose? What are you supposed? God's got a mission for us, right?
Yeah.
The reality is that guy, he's in the middle of his purpose, right? It's a journey, man. It's not like totally cookie cutter. But the guy who is running a successful business and is also, man, there's so many variables. I just don't want to, I hesitate to just make like hard and fast rules. Purpose is a serious issue.
Well, how did you find purpose? You had reached a mountaintop. I mean, people would find purpose in opening 40,000 churches. People will find purpose maybe in coaching. You told me you've been coaching in the men's space and the business space, the real estate space since I believe 2007.
It was all about me.
Okay, so it's not the thing you're doing, it's the intention behind it that creates a purpose?
It's getting aligned with it, right? When I have these conversations, I'm thinking through my head, I'm going back in the timeline of when I was doing what I was doing, and I'm trying to hash out, okay, what was the freaking problem, right? Here's part of the problem. We live in a culture that is obsessed with freaking self-improvement, self-help, self-this, self-everything, right? To the point where that guy who is accomplished, the whole world is just applauding the whole thing, right? It's hard to shake it off. It's hard to even if you don't want it, it's like, for me personally, I had to lose. We were just talking about that Mastermind Collective Genius and the owner. That guy was at my house. I had a mansion in Davis Island in Tampa. And he was at my house. We were having a big party, and he was looking around, and he said, I'll never forget this because I knew it was true the second he said it. It was the height of my life. Married, kids, $2 million a year, passive income. Didn't need to wake up if I didn't want to. He said, for you to get where you're supposed to be, all this has got to go. And that is specifically what happened. I lost that house. I lost my family. I lost my status. I lost my reputation. I lost absolutely, positively everything that I had. I had nothing. I had Jesus. I had my mom, and I had the mentors that I had stacked up over the years. That's what I had, and that got me through. And so now what I'm doing with Comeback Kings is I'm turning around because. So here's what I did to get back up. And here's what I help guys do. First of all, I had somebody reach out to me that had a co-working space, a Christian co-working space. And everybody was building brands and helping each other and doing life together. And so he brought me into that. He actually gave me, I was homeless. He gave me one of his vacant homes to sleep on while I worked with him in this co-working space. And so we started up this Bible study, and everybody's doing life together, and it just brought life back into me. I'd never had community. The guy that we're talking about, he's relatively isolated, even if there's people around him. Right. There's not that many people, if any, that he's having conversations like this with. Right. And that's part of the problem. You cannot do that.
Yeah.
You're going to fall. You're going to, if you isolate, if you don't share what's really inside of you, it's just not sustainable, So what happened for me, because what I'm interested in is purpose. What am I supposed to be doing? Right? That's all I care about. And so what I did is I posted a video on Instagram. I said, who am I? I have no idea. And then it was a video sharing with the world what I had just been through, kind of like you did, right? I had a brand prior to this, but this one was me letting everybody I know that I had just wrecked my life, who I really am, what I'd really done. And what was next? And what was next is I have no idea, but I'm going to come back. I have to make the biggest comeback of my life within the next 12 months.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it or not, but you're invited along for the ride. And what happened is I started posting consistently for the next year. And in the process, discovered who I am, what people need to hear from me, what my purpose is. Comeback Kings is a direct result of building a journal the journey type personal brand. And so now what I do is we have a community where we're launching kingdom-based brands all the time and helping guys who literally don't, either whether they've been divorced, whether they've,
is the sharing publicly necessary?
No.
Right? You and I have obviously taken our story and turned it into a movement, a mission, a brand that's empowering, leading, impacting others. Curious what, sharing it maybe intimately with your close circle did for you first, and then once you kind of opened up and shared it publicly, because we work with a lot of guys, right, that are holding on to these secrets and shames, and they even struggle to maybe open up and talk to their close family members. And I say, if there's something that's happening in your life and you're keeping it a secret, that thing is still holding power over you. Now, I never tell everybody they need to go out there and start a podcast and share it with millions of people all over the world. I think God uses certain people in that way, but I do think you need to find people, places in your life where you can share these things.
You have to.
Because it changed the game for me. Now the things that I did behind closed doors no longer held power over me because the people close to me knew about it and they accepted me. Like, I think the biggest fear for me was sharing that, the judgment of who people believed that I was. I did lose some, very few, and I realized that those people didn't matter. But the people that actually mattered to me, it brought me closer to them because now they knew the real me. So what did that do for you?
Confess your sins one to another so that you may be healed.
Yeah.
Right.
So every guy doesn't need to go out there and share it publicly.
No, so I work one-on-one with guys, and then we also have the community with, kind of like a group coaching atmosphere. I do both. I'm working one-on-one with guys. I encourage them. It's on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
Right? There's certain cases where if you were to share what you just went through or are going through, it would just be foolish.
Yeah.
Right? You would, whether it be lose your job or mess things up more over here, or you may be in the middle of litigation, it would mess your case. So there's no hard and fast. I do tell them the more that you can be raw and honest with this whole thing, the better. But there have been studies done in respect to the therapeutic benefits of creating videos of yourself and then watching them, not even posting them online and just everything that comes with that. There was a study done in 2010, specifically that the participants, you recorded a video and immediately watched it. And it was just free flow. And I don't remember all the details, but self-awareness, confidence, decision-making skills, and these are all things that the person who has just lost it all, they're having a difficult time making decisions. They've lost their confidence. They've lost their freaking sense of self, of who they are. What I have discovered is what I think is single-handedly the greatest thing anybody could possibly do who doesn't know who they are, who lost their confidence, who has gone through one of these vocational identity crises and needs to find their passion. They need to find get their mojo back. They need to find their next thing, right? And that's building a personal brand in community. If you don't do it in community with people who are also doing that with you, you're not only get the cream of the crop can do it, right? Guys that are motivated enough to become pro, bodybuilders.
Yeah.
Most people, you're going to post videos for a month and quit because nobody likes it. So we do it all in a community setting. Yeah. And so you're creating videos. I don't even care what they are. Hey, my name's Dave. See ya. Right? And then you just keep adding more and more to it every day. Yeah. Your confidence goes up every single time you do it. Your self-awareness goes. You start saying stuff you didn't even know you knew.
No, I agree with that. Before I ever posted a video online, I went to Toastmasters every week for almost 18 months consecutively. There was a community component there where I learned how to speak, articulate, think on my feet, talk about anything at random. You said you're helping people launch
This is a new Toastmasters.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%.
That's a good that's a good analogy.
Dude, in 2023, I shared our first episode of that year. It was 10 tips to make this year the best year of your life. Tip number 10 was sit down for 30 minutes and have a podcast style conversation. Record it. It doesn't even need to go live, but just record yourself having an intimate conversation with somebody.
Huge.
Every single week. It changes your life.
Huge. There's studies that back this up.
Yeah. But you said you're helping people launch these kingdom brands. And it's been really cool for me to witness because, my faith journey started in late 2018 and it really birthed out of me getting into influential business circles. I joined masterminds to learn how to go online, build a brand, build a community. What I found was Christ, and it changed my life. So everything I've kind of seen in the last 6-7 years online has been from this new Christ-centered perspective for me and the people in my life. But if you really pay attention online, socially, and kind of what's happening in our space, is there's been this probably what you would even call a revival.
Yeah.
And it's been really cool to witness and maybe even play a role, small piece
just in the past few years
in that. I'm not doing any of it. God is using me in a certain way. I think it was Billy Graham said in the 80s that the next revival is going to come in the business marketplace. Just curious kind of what your thoughts are. Are we witnessing this right now?
Absolutely.
And if a guy's out there, how can he maybe, I don't even want to say capture a part of it, but that's the business person of me.
Get in on it. They should get in on it.
So what is somebody that maybe, is making a great living on the side, got their 9 to 5, but it's like, I need to get in on this thing. God is calling me there. Like once again, the practical me thinks steps, right? Just how my brain works, KPI oriented. So what can a guy do? Join the community, but how does he find his place in this, I don't even want to say saturated marketplace, but in this growing revival space that's happening right now?
Yeah. So you see 1 million people on Instagram, Facebook, whatever. And so what's going to keep people from doing this is they think, everyone's doing this.
Yeah.
Right? First of all, everyone's not doing it. And for every one person who is doing it, there's 100 million other people that aren't. So it's like, is this market saturated? You could, in a sense, you could say yeah. But then in a sense, you could say not even slightly. It's like selling water.
Yeah.
Right? The first thing you need to do is make sure that you're walking the talk.
Yeah.
Right? If you don't even think about it. If you're, man, there is something to be said for getting online and saying, look, this is who I am. This is what I'm doing. But you have to be raw. You cannot just, what you just described, getting in on the kingdom movement, there's 2 ways of doing it. You're already a solid Christian and you're there and you're successful and you've got something in mind, or you just have to be radically honest about who you are. Most people, you just need to be really, really ridiculously brave and say who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Don't try to put on an act. Don't try to put on a show, and don't try to make it even a big deal. Just pick up your phone and say whatever the heck you want and post it. That's it.
Yeah.
Do the same thing the next day. And then over time, you just kind of dial it in, right? What'd you learn that day? Teach people what you learned. That's probably the biggest thing.
Yeah.
I've been doing this since 1993. I actually started my first email newsletter in 1997 was my first email newsletter. And I launched it, and this was me teaching people personal development.
Mm-hmm.
I launched it the week after I read my first personal development book ever.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Robbins' Awaken the Giant Within. I was so blown away.
Looks like this big.
I was so blown away. I'm like, oh my God. I was compelled to share what I was learning, right? So just start there, right? Share what
You're where you are now, where you used to be, in the journey that led you, because,
and what you're learning on a day by day
where you're
basis.
going, because you only need somebody that's 1 or 2 steps behind you. We're recording episode 297. I've only been able to keep this alive for 6 years. I'm only trying to reach one person with every single episode. I went 2.5 years of sharing a YouTube video every single day. That's how I rebuilt recovery into a multi-6-figure brand. Was like every day I showed up on YouTube. What does young Frank need to hear? I'd record it, post it, went live.
That's it.
Built. And it was always thinking about that older version of me.
One other thing that I like to is, God, what do you want to say to the world today?
Yeah.
Through me. And just wait and listen. A lot of times, if I don't get an answer to that question, I don't post anything. I actually haven't posted anything in the past 2 weeks because I haven't heard anything.
Yeah.
Find me somebody. I've never heard anybody do that. It'd
be hard for a lot of people because
their
ego is going to show up and say, you got to do it, you got to do it. And then you force it. And then,
well, that's the whole thing about this stage of life that I'm in. You've got the hustle and grind mode is it's like you have to do it.
Yeah.
But there's a whole nother level above that, right? Hustle and grind is Egypt, man. That's Egypt.
Well, that would be the advice for the young guy out there, though, right? Because I mean, the
young guy should hustle.
You got to learn skills. You got to learn communication. Right. Pick up one high income skill, whether it's sales, tech. Get in the AI space right now because that's fast and growing, and become an asset to the marketplace. Don't try to jump in the marketplace.
Okay, let me give that guy some advice real quick.
To offer.
Let me give that guy some advice. Memorize the Bible.
Okay. Because
when you get all this stuff and it all falls away, oh man, I got to find a more diplomatic way to say this stuff. What will remain, what will keep you going is the word. If I didn't have so much scripture memorized, and it's not just scripture memory, it's knowing the Bible. It's getting somebody to mentor you through the word. It's getting rooted in the truth.
Yeah.
Right? But memorizing scripture.
Live it instead of memorizing. Because I think a lot of people know the verses and then you look at the way that they live.
Both and, for sure.
Yeah.
It's definitely both and. But I'm telling you, when everybody's left and you're alone and all you got is demons flying all around you, screaming in your freaking ear, you had better know the freaking word of God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This has been powerful, man.
It saved my life, honestly. Scripture memory saved my life. And most people, they've never even considered doing it.
Yeah. Let's drive it home here with the last few, maybe, I don't even want to call them rapid fire, but just kind of, maybe personal questions, to you. You grew up in the church, you've talked about it here today pretty extensively, and this journey that you've been on, but a big turning point for you was a reacceptance of Christ into your life. So what is your understanding of your relationship with Christ now, and how is it different from the way that it was when you were younger?
I'm focused much more. It's just getting more realer, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like when I was a kid, it was just stories.
Okay.
And then when I got saved, the world kind of everything.
Christ is more real.
Yes, the kingdom, just the whole thing. It's just getting weightier, and the presence of God is more real.
Yeah. And what's one thing you do every day from a routine perspective, whether it's in the morning or throughout the day, to foster that relationship, right? Because it's a relationship. You have a relationship with family members, loved ones. You text them, call them, write them notes, give them gifts. If you're going to have a relationship with Christ, it's going to be him pursuing you, but you pursuing him back. So what's one thing you do on a daily or weekly basis to foster that relationship?
I argue with the Father pretty consistently throughout the entire day. I just get really exasperated with him. I'm like, God, come on, man. What are you doing? I just talk to him just like that, literally all day long.
Do a lot of people miss that because they try to button up and, they'll try to pray in this language?
Man, get real. Everybody listening to this, freaking nobody cares. No, everybody cares. People care about you, but Dude.
Well, God knows you. He made your personality. And when you try to show up from a different personality.
You're not fooling anybody.
Yeah.
You know who you're especially not fooling besides God?
Yourself.
Successful people.
Okay.
We know it. We know somebody. We know who you are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're trying to be something that you're not, I know. So just stop it.
Yeah.
Right? Be stupid if you're stupid. Be goofy if you're goofy. Be like just
assert.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I feel that. I feel that.
Pull zero punches with God. Whatever is on my mind, I'm going to have that conversation with God. Sometimes I'll overstep my bounds. I'm like, God, okay, I'm probably not supposed to say that, but I mean, please. That's called crying out to God.
Well, he knows what you're thinking anyway. So if you don't say it, he's gonna.
But we're also praising. We're also thanking him. We're also. I thanked him for you. I thanked him for this podcast. I thanked him and praised him in advance for how awesome it was going to go.
Oh, we had Jet pray us in before we started here today. I thanked
him that he moved it into a live. Constantly everything's from him. It's all. It's all from him. It's all for him. It's all got to be about him. You know what I'm saying? And we have got to get out of the freaking way, man. And if you don't, he's going to get you out of the way for you.
Where's the wildest place? Maybe wild is not the right term. Craziest place, most unsuspecting place you've seen God show up like in the moment in your life?
I've had some pretty crazy visions, bro.
Like visions.
Literal.
Yeah.
I spent a night in heaven and a night in hell. Literally. That's a different podcast episode.
Yeah, we might have to circle back on that one. Was that
that would probably be the most unique.
Were those substance initiated or
it was closely linked?
Yeah.
It was me getting off of
Okay. So the come down, you saw him. Yeah. God, there were moments,
but it was no hallucination. That's for sure. There
were moments that I didn't recall or was aware of at the time because this was prior to me understanding who he was. But I look back, man, and God had his hand on my life so much through my 20s because I definitely shouldn't be here. I should either be locked up or in the ground. But as I've been able to step into the things that we're doing here, I realized that God was taking me through all that. And there were half a dozen times that the only reason I got out of the situation was because there was something bigger than me at play there. So I understand a lot of that, man. Comeback Kings, man. Tell us, we're halfway through the year right now. I know you're in the early stage of launching this thing. What are you guys excited about right now? Got coming up, if anything, and where can the guys learn more? Maybe get in touch with you to find out if there's something that you're interested in.
Yeah, my Instagram page /Preston Ely is probably the best at the moment. What I'm excited about the most right now is members bringing in new members.
Okay.
That's what I'm the most excited about right now, is me not having to sell anything.
Okay.
Because I'm providing so much value, but it's both ways.
Yeah.
I'm basically creating what I could not find for myself.
Okay.
A community that I actually want to be in.
Yeah.
Right. And that has the right people all doing the same basic thing, which is trying to find themselves in Christ as it pertains to spirituality, vocation. Most of them are building brands. And I'm just pouring into them, man. Stuff that I used to charge $50,000 to mentor somebody over email. What I'm doing now is practically free, and I'm just pouring my life into it, and I'm absolutely loving it. And we're starting to see a lot of success from the members.
That's awesome.
We have one of my recent members was a pastor, and my first call with him, my sales call with him, turned into a coaching call, which most of them do. But he was in tears. He was so overjoyed and filled with newfound belief that his life actually was going to have meaning, because he was a pastor. Now he's not a pastor. And this is a story for a lot of pastors right now. And now I'm just in business. And, I'm just, it is what it is, but I'm just sad I won't have any mission impact. I'm like, bro, you're about to have more mission impact. You're about to have more impact on the kingdom in the next year than you've had in the past 40 years, right? And then to see him go from just literally almost nothing to being on the stage at, what's that big Christian seminar everybody goes to? It's like the touring. They tour all around the world.
Oh, I think I saw it here. Life Surge.
Life Surge.
Yeah.
He spoke at Life Surge.
Okay.
He's just made like 6 figures in a matter of a month. His marriage is healed. Is this, that, the other?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm excited about.
Yeah. Yeah, I did the Life Surge here. Met Tebow, Ed Milet, Crowder. They had Elevation Award. That was a powerful event. We did a whole VIP experience. That was awesome. Guys, we'll have all of Preston's stuff plugged down there in the show notes, his Instagram, links to the Comeback Kings, previous interviews that he's been on. Brother, I want to appreciate you, man. I'm glad we
let's give him. I'm gonna give him. Let's give him that Comeback Kingmaker system. We'll just give it to him for free.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll have a system down there. He'll share the link with me, so it'll be plugged down there in the show notes for you guys. Dude,
thank you for having me.
So honored, man. I'm glad we got able to connect here in person. Last question. We end every episode on here. This is 297, so this question's been asked a lot of times. I personally been on a journey for 6 years now of understanding and defining what this means to live in my life. But I'm curious with you, Preston, if you had to summarize it in a sentence or two, what does living a superhuman life mean?
It means living out of your true identity as a son of God. And I don't know what the other 296 answers were, but that's the only right one.
Yeah.
See, man.
I love it, brother. Guys, check out Preston, Comeback Kings Maker System, plug down there in the show notes. But as always, we appreciate you guys. Do all the great stuff, right? Rate, review for watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Most importantly, if there's somebody in your life that is struggling with anything that we shared here today, and whether it's something I said or something that Preston said, they need to hear this conversation. Do us a favor and then the blessing by sharing this episode with them. But for Preston, your host, Coach Frank Rich, we love you guys. We'll see you in the next one.